and welcome to the DeHart house. My name is Alicia and I'm your host of this crafty channel here on YouTube. The month of January is over. Just gone. Like, time went forward and I lived it, but I'm amazed that January is over. So it's time for my January Makes episode where I talk about all the things I made in the month of January and sharing what's going to be moving forward into February and just touching base with you all. So welcome. So I'm filming this on Saturday, February 3rd, and yesterday was Groundhog's Day, and now I really want to watch that movie with Bill Murray because I remember enjoying it as a young person. But I think I might watch that today. So on February 1st, I noticed that my bulb plants are all sprouting. They're all coming up. So I have tulips, hyacinths, daffodils in the front yard. And they're all just somewhere between 1 inch and 3 inches above the soil level, which is, I mean, they're coming up now. There's no stopping them. And in the backyard is where I grow my vegetables and fruits and things to eat. So in the backyard, I noticed the garlic is coming up as well. So I'm pretty excited about that because it means warmer weather, more sunlight, getting out in the garden, and I just really enjoy doing that. But I'm also I'm holding my breath because I'm afraid that a big old cold weather snap is gonna sweep its way through before spring arrives, and I really don't want a freeze to come through and just decimate these plants. So everyone, please cross your fingers and hope that that doesn't happen. It would just be very sad. It's not like growing flowers and vegetables are my livelihood. I do make enough money doing my job that I don't need to do it, but it brings me a lot of joy. And as far as growing my own food, I'm, reducing my impact on the planet, having to ship food across the world to feed me, and I know where my food comes from, and it just brings me a lot of joy and knowledge, and I feel like I'm helping out the planet and feeding the local bees and all of that good stuff. So anyway, long story short, I'm super excited for spring, but I'm also like waiting for the other shoe to drop, meaning some more cold weather. So I don't know. By the way, I'm coming to you from the Pacific Northwest. I live in the greater Seattle region of Washington State, and we did get some of that cold weather that the rest of the country got as well. But in my specific local area, I teach for a living. I teach at a 2-year college, and we still had school. We never had a closure at all throughout that whole cold weather snap. Lots of schools around us had 2-hour delays because of the snow and ice that was falling and forming and collecting on the roads. But we stayed open, so I didn't get to enjoy any snow days. But I know there are other places in the country where they had like a whole week of snow days, which is good and bad because you still have to make up that time. Usually you have to make up that time. So anyway, it's been a really mild winter here, super mild. Where I live is at a super low elevation, so it's very rare for us to get snow at the house. We did get a little bit of a dusting, and it was below freezing, like in the 20-degree Fahrenheit range, so the snow stayed for a few days on our front lawn. But you could still see all of the grass. It was just a very light dusting. So very mild winter. I'm excited for the warm weather, but yeah, I'm not going to put my hats away anytime soon. In fact, I figured I would wear a hat today because winter's going to be over and it's not going to be hat season anymore, except when we go camping. I'll still wear hats when we go camping. Excuse me, especially if it gets cold at night. I'll wear a hat to bed in my sleeping bag, but yeah, this is a hat that I knit out of hand spun yarn, and it came out to be like a sport weight, worsted weight yarn, and is it 100% merino? It might be, but I love it. It's greens and blues and browns and just super Pacific Northwest colors. And the pattern is, I think it's called the Barley Hat by Tin Can Knits, which is a free pattern. So it's got this patch of garter stitch and then the rest is stockinette, and I love this hat. So anyway, I'm going to get into the crafty things that I managed to work on in the month of January, and let me start off by saying I finished nothing, which saddens me, but also at the same time I'm almost finished with something big. So the month of January has been pretty busy at work, coming home and just like low energy, feeling drained, and the lack of sunlight does have something to do with that. So part of the seasonal disorder, I can't remember what it's called, whatever, lack of sunshine, feeling kind of bleh. Yeah, I've been feeling a little bit of that. I do every winter. So coming home from work, feeling exhausted and like so mentally drained that I wasn't always knitting. So I didn't finish anything, but I did work on things. So let me share with you what I did manage to work on in the month of January. So the main thing that I worked on in the month of January is a cardigan. And I have made significant progress. It's going to be hard to see because it's in this gorgeous dark black gray color, but I will do my best. So it is currently knitting needle free because this morning I finished the second sleeve. So all I need to do now is knit the button band. And I'm not entirely sure about the length of this yet. So after I knit the button band, I'm going to decide whether I want to lengthen this. But yeah, so the pattern is the Cappuccino Cardigan by Knits by Summer. And I purchased this pattern off of Ravelry. And I love it. I love the project photos that were up there from other people. And I'm loving the project myself so far. I was really unsure about the sleeve length, to be honest. So I knit the body, the whole body. It's knit flat, so back and forth in rows. And then I picked up for the first sleeve and I knit all the way through the first sleeve. Well, I didn't quite get all the way, but I was trying it on going, wow, these sleeves seem really long. And I was trying it on and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm pretty sure I'm making sleeves that are way too long. But it's got this drop shoulder on it and I really wasn't sure where this drop shoulder would be sitting on my arm. But part of that is because it doesn't have a collar up here, and it's knit in stockinette, and so the front edge just keeps rolling in like mega crazy. So I tried this on, and it's really hard to get a sense of the fit because this edge keeps rolling, and then the sleeve wasn't quite finished, and I don't know how wide the button band is going to be and where it's going to sit and lay nicely, so whatever. I just said, okay, I'm going to knit the sleeve as the pattern says to. And if it's too long, I will rip it back and it will be fine. And I'm not going to sweat the details right now. I'm just going to knit it to pattern. And if I need to shorten it later, so be it. Well, now that I've finished both sleeves, it is the right length. So I'm super glad that I didn't shorten the sleeves amidst the mid-progress worry. So let me just put this on and give you an idea of where we're sitting with this cardigan. So you can see the sleeve length is good, right? I'll talk about this in just a little bit. But the sleeve length is good. But see this edge? It's not meant to be an open front cardigan. It's just, it's rolled over so much. So it is going to have buttons, and it is going to be closable, right? So I need to pick out buttons out of my stash and do that. But see, because it just keeps rolling, and the top edge here is rolling too, so it feels like it's rolling off my shoulder. So it's hard to get a sense of where this line is really going to be falling. But yeah, so I'm a little, I don't know that I like where it's hitting me in the length right now. So I might lengthen it a little bit, but I need to put this button band on here and actually try it on with it fully finished, because the sleeves worked out fine, and there's a really good chance that once I finish this, it'll be fantastic, but I just can't tell right now. So I'm using, the yarn is Karen 1 pound. It's 100% acrylic, and the colorway is dark gray mix, and it's gorgeous. And I have 3 skeins of this in my stash. And I didn't realize that one of them is from a different dye lot than the other 2. The other 2 are from the same dye lot. And which one did I grab to start this project? Yes, the one that is different than the other 2. So, did not realize that until I went to grab the second skein. I had knit the entire body and almost all of the first sleeve, and I had this much left to do. And then I realized, oh my gosh, these are from different dye lots. Here and here. So in certain lighting and angles, it's pretty obvious. And in others, it's not at all obvious. So I'm going with it. I am not. So this is the, so I did switch here, and then the entire second sleeve is in the other dye lot, but I think this is harder to see because it is a different piece, and I picked up along the side, and it's not just like the next row of the knitting, so I feel like it's fine. So the button band is also going to be in this other die lot, and I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to knit it, and I'm not going to let it bother me. So it did alarm me at first, going, oh my gosh, I know better. I know better, and I've made this mistake before. So I'm kind of kicking myself that I didn't pay attention, because silly me. You could have the commercialiest commercial yarn, like 100% acrylic Caron 1 pound, and die lots still matter. So silly me. But they're close enough. I'm just going with it. And I think after a few washes, it'll be less noticeable, because part of the reason these two look different is that the first skein that I used is way less fuzzy than the second one. So this is darker, it's richer, and super clean stitch definition. But on the second one, it's a little bit lighter and fuzzier. It's got that like fuzzy halo to it, less stitch definition. So I think over time, the other one will fuzz out a little bit too. And I suspect that will also lighten up the color a little bit. So I think it's fine. Yeah, I'm so ready for this project to be done, and I wanted to get this finished in the month of January. It didn't happen, no big deal. So I'm going to go through my button stash and see if I have buttons for this project, because then I'll know how big to make the buttonholes, and I'll go ahead and pick up for the button band, and I will work on that. If I don't have buttons in my stash, then I'll run off to the nearby craft store and I will check those things out. But it's so close, and I'm ready to move on to the next thing. So I've been wanting to knit monogamously on my cappuccino cardigan, because I want it finished, and I want to be able to wear it, and it's warming up out there. So I want to finish it and be able to enjoy it before storing it away for the summer. So I've been pretty much only knitting on that. I have done a tiny amount with my socks here. I think I knit 4 rounds. It was in an evening. We were sitting watching TV, and I just didn't have the brain space for the sleeve decreases and dealing with the length. I was worried about the length of the sleeve, and I thought, let me knit on something else while I mull it over. So I knit 4 rounds on this. This is some hand spun. This is I think Romney mohair blend, and I spun it 2-ply. Fingering weight, and I'm knitting these shorty socks, and I'm ready to rip these out, because I started knitting these with twisted rib, and twisted rib looks really cool, but I am so over knitting it that I'm about to the point where I just want to rip this whole thing out and start over with regular 1x1 rib. And I will probably do that. So yeah, it's just frustrating me. And I tried it on, and it does look very nice when it's stretched out over the foot. It does look nice, but it is so annoying, especially with the hand spun yarn, where the thickness is not consistent, and sometimes I catch on things, and so it's a slog. The sweater is already a slog because it's huge. And I don't need a small project like socks to be a slog. So I think I'm going to rip these out, and I'm just going to start over with regular 1x1 rib. So we're going to have some backwards progress going on here, and whatever. It is what it is. I want to enjoy my knits. Also, I'm trying to lighten my workload at work a little bit so that I can have more energy. I'm trying to improve my health, and a part of improving my health is that I want to work on my energy levels. So I'm doing more meal planning, considering what I eat for my energy sources, but then also getting up and using my energy. So walking, yoga, increasing my flexibility and my strength and things like that. But I just get home from work and I'm exhausted and I have no energy to even just walk on the treadmill for 15 minutes. Like, I don't even want to do that. So one of the things that would help is if I had just a super easy sock to knit while walking on the treadmill or something. So I had finished this hand spun project last month in December, and I've got 4 balls, and I went ahead and cast on a sock, and I need to get it out of this bag. Hang on. So I thought about doing 2 at a time. I'm not doing 2 at a time. I was thinking simple, keep it simple so that you could actually knit this while walking on the treadmill if you wanted to. So I'm knitting this sock cuff down. That is my preferred method. I did a twisted German cast on, 1x1 ribbing. Whoops, I just dropped that. 1x1 ribbing for the cuff. And now I'm doing plain stockinette. Plain stockinette. And the hand spun is actually a joy to work with. I love it. I'm using, what are these needles? Knit Picks. These are from Knit Picks. It's got this purple cord on them. These are size 1 or size 0? Hang on. Okay, these must be size 0 needles, because when I knit on size 0 needles, I do 64 stitches. When I knit on size 1, I do 60 stitches. And I have 64, so so size 0, and it's 2 16-inch circulars. I like this method. I also like Magic Loop, but I also ordered some double point needles because I was looking back through the socks I've knit over the years, and I originally started on double point needles, and I knit a couple pairs of socks for my husband, and those socks are like standing strong, super strong. Patton's Croy yarn and double point needles. I think US size 1, probably. But the stitch gauge is really tight. And part of that was so that the stitches wouldn't slide off the needles, right? So I'm like, maybe I need to try double points again to get that really tight gauge, because those socks have held up beautifully over the years. Don't get me wrong, the Magic Loop cable needle method is very comfortable. It's not hard on my hands. It's very easy, flexible, easy to put in a bag. But it's kind of a looser gauge, and I don't know. So I have some double point needles coming in the mail, and I'll use them at some point, and it'll be interesting to try that again because I haven't done it since before the pandemic. So it's been several years. I think I lived in Texas, and I think I gave some of my double point needles away because I was like, I don't use them. And now I'm ordering more, so that's kind of funny. But anyway, the yarn that I spun is from Wild Wool Farm on their Panda base. And I don't know the name of the colorway, but it's got yellow, obviously, and some shades of purple and some shades of blue, and it should be fun to see it after it is all knit up. So yeah, I'm slowly making progress on that, but the priority project is the cardigan. So that's all that I've been working on this month, is just a sweater and a couple of socks, one of which I'm gonna rip out and start over. Yeah, it happens. But I did order a couple of things. I mentioned I've got some double point needles in the mail on their way here, and those are going to be for sock knitting. Now I can't remember if I ordered US 0 or US 1, but I'll find out when they arrive. So I'll share those with you guys next time, and for all I know, I'll have a knitting project on them. Another thing I ordered that isn't here yet is some fiber. So I was doing some shopping online and just perusing, and I've been pretty good about not purchasing things. Excuse me. I would really like to stash down kind of a more out than in situation this year, and so I'm going to be keeping track of that. But I'm also telling myself that you shouldn't just force yourself to use what you have and ignore sales and trying out dyers before they, you know, close their shop and don't exist anymore, because that's been happening a lot. And so I found some things and they were on sale and I wanted them, so I bought them. But I kept that to a minimum. So I have fiber that's also shipping here, and so when I get it, I will share it with you. But I ordered something else. And it's something I've been wanting for a while. Yeah, let me just tell you what it is, because then it'll be easier. I ordered a Lazy Kate from Maurice at Dreaming Robots, I think is the name of his company. But he's the creator behind the electric eel wheel and all the various electric eel wheels that are out there. So I own an electric eel wheel Nano 2. It's an electric spinning wheel, small. And he also created a Lazy Kate, and so I ordered it, and it arrived a couple days ago. It technically has three units to it. I haven't screwed on the thing yet, but you screw this in, and there's different options here, and they magnetically join together, and they have some weight to them and some rubber feet bottoms so they don't slide around on the table or floor or whatever. And it came with a elastic band, brake band as well, so I will be trying this out the next time I ply. So I have been using a homemade Lazy Kate, which is not fantastical. It's a basket with some straight knitting needles and clothespins, and I tried adding a piece of cotton yarn as a brake band, and that didn't go well. It's worked fine, it just doesn't work great, and when it doesn't work great, it's really annoying. because when I pull the yarn out too fast for plying and I stop pulling, the bobbin still keeps spinning. And what happens is that yarn gets wrapped around the straight knitting needle, which has two issues with it. One, I now have to unravel that to keep plying. But two, the inside of the bobbins, so the bobbin slides onto the straight knitting needle, right, or the post, and the inside of the bobbin has oil on it so that it can spin freely, reduce the friction. Well, that oil gets transferred onto the straight knitting needle, and then the yarn wraps around it, so it also picks up the oil. And after spinning for a while, the oil isn't as clean, so sometimes the oil residue is like a dark color. And it's just really disappointing to be spinning your yarn and then it picks up some dirty oil, and now your light colored yarn has gross dark spots on it. So yeah, I have been shopping for a Lazy Kate and looking for what would work best for me, price-wise, functionality-wise, design-wise, and this is what I went with. So yeah, super affordable. So if you're into spinning and you like to hobby on a dime like I do, this was super affordable. I have not used this yet, so I will be sharing my thoughts and opinions on this and how well it functions after I use it. So yeah, I'm excited, and I'm excited to have an actual Lazy Kate. So I thought I would just check in on the winter knit list because we're still technically in winter here in early February. So if I remember correctly, I have 5 things on my winter knit list. And so far I have made progress on one of them. That's the cappuccino cardigan. And it's close to being finished. So I'm confident that I will actually finish the cappuccino cardigan in winter. The next project that I'd like to cast on from my winter knit list is a small item. So on my knit list, I had 3 garments and 2 small items. So I think I'd like to do a small item next. The 2 small items are like a winter snowy themed pair of socks that I'd like to spin for, so a spinning project that leads into a knitting project. And since I just got a new Lazy Kate, I'm inclined to do that. But the other small item is the gnome from Imagine Landscapes from December, the mystery knit along during Advent. And I skipped that this last season because we had made plans to travel and there was just no way I was going to be able to do traveling and mystery knit along knitting with clues. Yeah. So I put it off knowing I will do that in the new year and I don't want to put that off. So I think as far as a new cast on goes, I'll probably cast on the gnome next. But I also want to start spinning for the socks because I do have to make the yarn before I can knit with it. So I think those 2 things will be the next to come down the pipeline because the other 2 items are big. One of them is a very big sweater. And the other one, I don't know if I'd call it a big sweater, but they're winter sweaters, long sleeve and the whole deal. And I'm already doing that right now. So I'm not like super excited to start another one of those right away. So I think I will cleanse my palette with a little project that I can finish, and then move on to another garment. So those are my plans for making progress on my winter knit list. I would love to know what you're planning to work on in the month of February, now that January's over. Are you also trying to finish up big knits? Are you hoping to cast on something new? Do you have a spinning project? I have some cross stitch that I'm staring at over there that I have let idle for a few months now that I really should pick up again. So what are your plans for February? I'd love to hear about them in the comments down below. If you're so inclined to share, that would be amazing. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have for you. January has been a busy month. I feel more energized now that it's February. It's like someone flipped a switch and all of a sudden I have more energy. So I don't know what's going on with that, but I'm happy about it. So I'm hopeful that the month of February is going to be a little bit more productive. I'm going to have a little bit more energy. Also, it's a leap year, so we have an extra day in February this year, which is pretty awesome. So just one more day to get stuff done. Yeah, so that's all I have for you today. Thanks for joining me. I really appreciate you. So until next time, I hope that you stay safe, stay healthy, and that you enjoy your crafts, whatever they may be. Bye, everyone.